Hello, everyone on the live stream. Ooh, I kind of messed that up. Wait, there we go. Now we're good. There's Bob and there's James, your two hosts for this week.
Yep.
Your 2 weeks. Your two hosts for every week, actually. Um, Welcome, guys. I can actually. Wait a second.
What? I don't think it
I
started.
just made you a moderator for the channel, so now you're have a high level. I don't know. I think it might like
Ah,
highlight your name or something. I don't know.
yeah, I can put users in timeout. That's awesome.
Alex, you're going into
You're
timeout.
sitting in timeout, man.
Alex is getting. All right. Um. All right. So, go. So you think that's a good thing with this pig getting tied up? Have you heard? Did you hear about that?
No, well, I mean, I read it, but I read what you wrote about it.
That's pretty significant. I mean, these people are like they want to shut this entire park down now. Like they have petition. This petition has almost 50,000 signatures. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't understand whose right mind a park would do that kind of thing. I mean,
I don't know.
we'll talk. We'll
Did you
talk
ever
about
watch?
that, but we'll
You ever
talk
watch Black Mirror?
now.
The first episode of Black Mirror is like, is that it, Black Mirror is pretty extreme. The first episode was like even extreme for me. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened, and now somebody's gonna do it. Um, it's messed up. I'm not gonna give it away, but like when I was reading that, I was like, that was like I saw the pig and being tied up, and I'm like, this is like a like I'm like this doesn't end Black Mirror, does it? Like
uh,
that's why
Chungking,
I let you talk about all the foreign stuff because
Chongqing,
I don't know.
Chongqing, China. Mexican. I don't even know. Is it like a Mexican? Is that what that
You
is?
should just put it into like Google. Doesn't Google have like a text to speech thing?
Translate.
Like as you're reading it, just have Google say it for you.
Let's hear it.
Mason.
Mason.
Machine.
Machine. All right, Machine. So Machine Red Wine Town in Chongqing, China. All right, that's pretty good. I'll probably forget that when we start, and then it'll all sound like a complete moron, but it's all right. And then IAPA, Kings Island. So yeah, they were. Did you see about everyone's getting mad about Vortex Station got completely demolished?
Yes.
I'm sure you're part of the upset. I
Dude, it's ridiculous. Why?
don't know.
Why? I mean, they even kept Volcano's Q for God knows why. Like, why?
We can't keep vortexes though, which has a lot more historical significance.
Right. That was the Bat Station. Like,
Exactly.
that was actually when I woke up. I had a text message from Daniel. He's like, no matter what happens, Cedar Fair always disappoints me. Like, no matter what.
And then we can again when we start with King's Dominion, I'll stop. So as soon as we finish that, I'll stop, and then I'll be like, all right, now we're gonna get into Busch Gardens, Williamsburg's, whatever. All right, so I'll stop, and then I'll be like, are you ready? And then we'll restart, and I'll start the video as well. I believe I'm gonna test that real quick and make sure I can. Hello, hello. This is a test to see if I can record and do a live stream at the same time.
Do you need me to talk to?
No, it's all right. If it works, then there should be no reason why your audio will not be recorded. So your audio will be recorded. All right, let's see. Oh, hello. This is a test to see if I can record and do a live stream at the same time. It worked. All right, we're good. I didn't want to record like a whole video segment and then get to it and be like, oh wait, none of the video recorded or whatever. Be very disappointed. All right, Coast into the Snow, and then so I'm sure are you on the side of calling Pantheon a Giga or not?
Pantheon?
I mean, 2020,
Oh,
2020 Ghost Rider.
2021? No, it's not a Giga. You could say it's a Giga shuttle, but it's not a Giga. Like, it's not a Giga coaster.
Oh, okay. That's what I heard that you thought. So I don't agree with that. So maybe we'll have a little bit of an argument.
So you're one of the people that say that Top Thrill Dragster wasn't the first Strata?
Yeah,
Really?
I am indeed.
I don't.
It
don't.
has nothing to do, and people try to tell me it has to be full circuit and or it has to have a chain lift or whatever. It has nothing to do. All the description of a
It doesn't
giga.
have to have a chain lift.
I know, but some people full circuit, whatever. The definition of a strata or a giga is the height is that tall. It has nothing to do with if it's a full circuit or not. No one's ever.
Alex is getting in on it. He's saying
Alex
it's more of a giga than Orion.
It is. I agree. I mean,
No,
by classification, it is. Look. But okay. Never mind. We need to.
Orion is a giga.
We don't have time for that. Orion is a giga. we need to actually do that. Well, this will be good when we talk about it in the actual podcast. And then Alex, you can hold off your comments because we probably shouldn't have even started talking about this because now, just wait. Just wait. Just wait. All right, we'll wait. On the break run, will we ever see another stand-up built again?
I should put Alex in timeout for that.
I gave you too much power. Hey, I can still revert you. I can still revert the order. Let's see. I need to see the results of this poll. I never checked them. I have a feeling that many people think that we're never going to see a stand-up again. Let's see. Yep. All right. So we got 10 votes for yes.
Why doesn't YouTube chat have the me command?
I don't know.
That's a very important chat command.
10 votes or what is that? 10%? 14%. And then 55 votes. No. Or what is this? 86%. 86%. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of people don't think we're going to see another stand-up.
That's the results I was expecting.
Yeah,
But
same.
there's a caveat to that, which we'll discuss later. Because we get to discuss that this week.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm trying to... I don't really want there to be a space. Here, I'll just do that. Oh. Alright, and then... What was the first strata? That's going to be hard not to debate this week, but... we're not going to be able to do that this week, actually. So, when we talk about Busch Gardens, Williamsburg... We'll talk about the Giga. We'll talk about the Giga classification, and then when we get to strata, we'll hold that off for next week, and then we can talk about it then.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
I know it's gonna be really hard.
That's gonna be real hard.
Maybe we can change this weekly poll because that's kind of they kind of fall into each other.
It fits. We'll just have to try to do it.
Because when we talk about the Giga, though, we're gonna be like, well, "What about this?" And you're gonna be like, "Oh," and then it's gonna be kind of lead into that. I don't know.
Oh well. Whatever. We'll still pull. I mean, even if we do end up talking about it, I still want to know what other people think.
Yeah, but then next week, what's going to be the break run? Because if we already discussed it, there would be no reason to discuss it.
Oh, we'll discuss it again.
All right, we'll just keep arguing the same thing. All right.
Next week, I'll try to change your mind.
Yeah. Oh boy. We'll try to hold off. We'll try to hold off on that discussion as much as possible.
I'll try.
Let's try not to get into that with Busch Gardens. We'll try to keep it off of that. But we do need to first, before we argue about anything, we do need to discuss exactly what's happening and everything. Which I'm still a little. I mean, I understand what's happening, but there's so much crap here to talk about on this one website, on this one article. I guess we just.
I know.
It's just the blueprints.
Yes. We could even talk about BGW fans getting blacklisted.
Yeah, I'm sure Busch Gardens is not pleased by this.
I don't get it. I mean, I understand they don't want news to leak out, but at the same time,
it's not like it's getting to a wide variety of audiences. Obviously, only
right?
the
Exactly. Yeah.
No general public ever goes, "Oh, that was ruined" or whatever by BGW fans. No one even knew about Pantheon. I mean, that was just like a couple thousand enthusiasts that are out there.
Right.
But I'm sure
that's exactly it. And even when stuff like that comes out, I tell my sister. She doesn't tell anybody. She promptly forgets about it. I know this because it's 3 weeks later we're talking about something. She's like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "I just told you about that."
All right, I'm gonna grab something, and then we can start.
All right.
Oh boy.
So,
If you're talking to me, I can't hear you right now. I don't have my headphones on, so
oh, okay.
sorry. Wait. Okay, what'd you say?
You put on the rundown at Coasting Through the Snow. It's
Yeah.
Jeepers, it's winter.
I did. Yeah. Whoopsie. We already did Coasting Through the Snow.
Huh? Yes, we did.
I preferred Busch Gardens as much more.
Yes.
I didn't think Kings of Winds is that great.
Well, Kings Dominion doesn't have anything to show us or anything to do. Like,
Well, even last year we didn't discuss anything that much. Like we didn't discuss Pantheon or anything. We just kind of I don't know. I just thought it was a better. I just like Busch Gardens better. So, and we can also talk about how this basically confirms Busch Garden. These two rundowns right here. I mean, we're talking about Kings Dominion, we're transitioning to Busch Gardens. That kind of there's always been this debate in Virginia that Kings Dominion and Busch Gardens, like which one's the better of the two. And for a while, I've seen how some people loved Kings Dominion more because they had. Now I don't think there's any doubt in my mind.
I would
especially with
defend.
this.
I mean, think about it. I defended Kings Dominion against Busch Gardens.
Yeah,
Like,
for the long
I always
time,
gave
you
Busch
did.
Gardens the theme.
That
Now,
was
like,
the thing. Busch Gardens has the theming and Kings Dominion has the roller coasters. But now it's like, I don't know. Do they? Do they really?
and this is the ironic part about this is the rides that they're getting rid of are the ones with the most theming.
Yeah.
Like Volcano and Crypt, like those were spectacularly themed rides. Like,
Yeah. All right. Let's start. Let's get ready because we're starting to do podcast stuff and we're not. This is good discussion though. All right. So I guess I'll just start off with. I don't know. Introduction. I don't want to get into Jeepers It's Winter because we're going to get into that later. So I'll just be like, what's up, everyone? Do you want to do the... I'm James, and that's Bob. Again, do you want to do that again?
Yep.
All right.
yeah, that works better.
All right. And then I'm just trying to think of a way to start this off without bringing up Jeepers because that's... We're kind of going to transition to that.
How about we just say word?
What?
We just go word.
Word to your mother. All right, let's start attraction.
And now on to attraction news.
You see, this is the stuff that you don't get on the podcast because only the live stream people get the fun side of this. All right. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I guess we'll go right into it. Get into attraction news as soon as possible. What's going on? I guess I can kind of be like, it's been a big month or a big week for the Virginia enthusiasts in particular. I can say something like that. All right, here we go. You ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, 3. Well, actually, let's test your audio first. Make sure it's working on Audacity because I don't want to.
This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Had this been an actual emergency, we would have told you to scream and run like hell.
All right, let's see how well that
The
works.
emergency broadcast system. Had this been an actual emergency,
All right, that works. Alrighty, and then my audio. Let's see. Coach Talk Podcast live stream test number 1. I don't know what I'm talking about. Random words for the test. I love the tests. Those are my favorite part. Coach Talk Podcast live stream test number 1. All right, sounds good. Alrighty, Bobby. Let's get to business.
let's do it.
Just do it. All right. Blah 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 blah. Hoo, hoo, hoo. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. My name is James Barber,
And I'm Bob Mertz.
and this is episode number 58 of your source for everything roller coasters. It's been a big week for Virginia enthusiasts, Bob, as a couple of big announcements have been. Aha. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
They've been so big you can't talk.
They've been so big I can't even comprehend English now. I don't know what that was. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm trying to think. I don't like starting off like that. Because then if we start talking about them, we might as well just talk. I mean, like we need to fade into attraction news, and then they're not even coming up till later in the segment. So maybe we just start off. I don't know. This is strange. Usually I can like bring up an event or something, but I've talked about Jeepers This Winter so much, and we're going to be doing that in this segment. I guess I can just start, and we can just go right into direction.
How about you just say, like, blah, 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 blah. We have a lot to say, so let's just get right into it with attraction news.
Yeah.
I think that.
This is an action-packed podcast this week. Yeah, I can say something like that.
Action-packed.
I'll say that. I'll say that exactly. Action-packed. Action-packed podcast. It's alliteration. Rolls off the tongue. Packed podcast. I like that. All right. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk. My name is James Barber.
And I'm Bob Mertz.
And this is episode number 58 of your source for everything roller coasters. It's January 23rd. No, I can't say that because it's not January 23rd. It is January 23rd, but it's not going to be later. If you know what I mean. I don't want to say the date. And the date makes it ominous because people that I don't even know.
I was thinking about that. We should do, like, we should say, like, this is Coaster Talk 58 for the week, for the week of January 26th, because that's when it's going to release, right?
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's what we should do, because, like, sure, it's like the 23rd when we're talking about this, but by the time people hear it, it's not the 23rd.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. We can do that. I'll do it. The week of the 26th, January 26th. All right.
Yeah, I think that works better.
All right.
Because that way, even if you don't get it up on Sunday, it's like, it's not a hard date.
Yeah, I got you. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk. My name is James Barber.
And I'm Bob Mertz.
And it's the podcast number 58 for your source for everything roller coasters. This is the week of January 26th. And we have a lot to talk about, Bob. An action-packed podcast this week. So let's jump right on into it with the first segment, Attraction News. That's all right. That's good.
That was perfect.
We can roll with that. All right, so
That's how we roll.
I don't know. I already forgot how to pronounce that.
Meishin.
Meishin Red Wine Town in Chongqing, China. China, I love China. It's fantastic. I love China. All right. All right.
We're going to do great things. Great things.
Great things in China. My best friend is China. I love China. All right. Let's get into it. Starting off with a bit of a strange story, Bob.
This is very strange.
Very strange story, yeah. Meihing Red Wine Town in Chongqing, China, tied up a pig and forced it to bungee jump from a 220-foot plus platform as part of a publicity stunt for the park's newest attraction, which is a bungee cord. They are facing insane international backlash from this, Bob. There's a petition on change.org with over almost 50,000 signatures saying that to shut down this park permanently because of this. Which you think, and we are in a very environmentally aware society at this point. I mean, what park would knowingly tie up an animal, almost like a sacrifice, and drop it from 220 feet? I mean, that just, I don't know any,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the logic behind this. I know it's China. You could be like, they're not as developed in terms of like the thought of environmental and sound and stuff like that. But that's still insane. I mean,
people, it doesn't matter where you're at. People have stupid ideas.
I know, but yeah, China is not, as you could say, is not environmentally friendly as some, like, America and other European countries and like things like that. But still, I don't understand. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And on top of that, they tied it up. They put a cape on it. It's like, it's strange. I don't know if this is maybe a superhero themed. But why a pig? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
I don't know
Part
the
of me
reasoning behind
wants
this.
to
We don't know
laugh at it.
yeah. I know.
I mean, it's kind of funny, but
I do feel very, because that pig, I'm sure, thought it was dead. It was dying. I don't know any tie up any animal, make it jump 200 feet. I know certain humans that don't want to do that. So I mean, it's not fair.
I know a lot of humans that don't want to do that.
So it's not fair to put an animal on there that has no say in this and just do it. I mean, I'm not going to get on an environmental rampage here because, I can understand, I'm not going to be a freak about it, but I just don't think it logically makes any sense to do this. I again don't know any context behind this, so it could have been, I don't know what, like maybe they're theming it to some sort of pig superhero. I'm not sure what the point of putting a cape and all that stuff on a pig
But
and making it
here's
jump
the
off,
thing,
but
though,
it's strange.
and this is what people fail to realize. Do you see the marketing genius that happened? Do you think that Coaster Talk would be talking about this park had they not done this?
Yeah, I think it's the wrong marketing they wanted though, because they're.
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, the suits see the effectiveness of it.
It's effective in a poor way, though, a very poor way.
Yes, it's very. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. Like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny. I'll admit it's kind of funny, but like
it is.
the overwhelming, like, just like that's horrible. Like, what? Why? Like, it's just, yeah.
I mean, because I'm the kind of guy that when you watch the movies where they kill, I cry or get upset more when it's an animal dying in a movie than a human. Which is, I definitely do get upset when humans die and things like that. But when like an innocent horse or an innocent dog or something is killed, ever seen the movie War Horse, things like that, I am very sentimental towards those things. So I know that a lot of people feel more emotionally connected to animals because we feel they're innocent and they're, they don't have say, they don't have conscience, things like that. So I just think it was a poor decision for them to even put this thing in that position and to put their park in this jeopardy. Because now, I mean, I don't know if this petition will really do anything, but to have 50,000 people claiming to, want your park shut down is pretty significant.
Really, seriously, like, if you do something wrong, the cops can arrest you. Change.org is like the equivalent of the security guard writing your name down.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
I agree.
It's not. I mean, it
but
shows
normally Change.org gets a couple thousand signatures. This is getting 50,000. That's pretty. I don't know. I mean, obviously they can't do anything about it, and of course, I mean it's China, so I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, I mean, Change.org is like kind of like
a slap on the wrist. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's taken as a joke because they're like, "Oh, hey, now that you signed this petition, how about you give us $10 to advertise?" Like, wait a minute, what are you really here for? I like this is kind of I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that the petitions on Change.org aren't meaningful and have a purpose.
Yeah.
But like, this is different than another like a respected organization collecting signatures. It's kind of a different thing. But even like you said, it's there's no teeth behind it. There's nothing that can really be done. And closing down the whole park is just stupid too, because like
extreme.
I mean, the rides didn't do that to it. Like, there were humans involved. Those humans are the ones that should be held responsible, not the people that enjoy the rides at the park.
Yeah, it's a very bad. I just think they put themselves in a very bad situation. And I think we all feel sympathy for the animal, but no harm was done. I think that's the most important part. In a way you want to laugh at it, in a way you want to be upset about it. It's over and done with. I don't know how. I don't think this, like you saying, this petition's going to do much other than raise some money. I don't know where the money's going to go though, honestly. But to Change.org's pockets probably. But yeah, it was an interesting story and. Yeah, and it was a strange story and a good way to kick off this week because we're getting back into the actual attraction industry now because that's kind of a weird, ominous story. But we're going to get back into the attractions with IAAPA, which is the largest trade show for attraction industry. They have general managers, owners, CEOs of theme parks and amusement parks, zoos, aquariums, blah, blah, blah. All the top heads and all that are going to be at this showcase.
IAAPA is where SeaWorld goes and says, we want everything.
Exactly, yeah. But IAAPA has announced that they're going to once again return to Orlando from the 17th of November to the 20th of November. So they announced that, and then they also announced their Asia Expo is going to be June 9th through the 11th, and then the European is going to be in the UK, and that's going to be from the 21st and to the 24th of September. So just a little bit of updates on IAAPA. Of course, I always want to get to IAAPA every year. I don't know if this is the year that I'll get down there or not. Hopefully. And then Kosher Talk Podcast can be represented. Maybe Kosher Talk Podcast can be represented down there with the attractions and get some interviews with some cool people and see what's going on in the industry. That would be really awesome. We'll see. That's definitely a hope. It's definitely something that we'll shoot for. But moving on from that, because that was just kind of a little update. Kings Island, Bob. Two good things. Two things happened. One is a positive and two is a negative. So this is kind of balances out. It kind of balances out a little bit.
No.
I know you're definitely not. You don't feel that way, but I think the majority of
it helps, but it doesn't balance out.
Well, fans were surprised to see that Vortex Station got completely demolished. And this is the station that was reutilized from the former Bat coaster that has a historical significance for this park. And people thought they were going to keep it up because it again has that sentimental historical value to to the enthusiasts that have been going there for a long time, and to local, even the local general public remembers the Bat and everything like that. So it's significant to just see them destroy it in such a, especially because as you pointed out earlier when we were talking, Volcano, they kept that station up, and it's just strange to see that Vortex, it has such a more historical value behind itself, that station. Yeah. It's been kept up since the 70s. That's been up since the 70s. So it's crazy to see them just.
And it's beautiful. It was a beautiful station.
And they just tore it down with such nonchalance, just carelessness. It was no like.
It's perplexing to me because I kind of always used to see Cedar Fair as having a kind of a respect for their history. I mean, the first thing that was really a problem, but I could kind of give them their hands were tied, was the Big Dipper at Jug Lake.
Yeah,
I wish Cedar Fair would have done more to save that coaster. Maybe move it to one of their other parks. Mm-hmm. I kind of get that, but we're getting into an era where it's not just like little isolated things. It just seems like Cedar Fair has no regard for history at their parks. And ironically, Cedar Point's doing their 150th. We're like, oh, let's remember all our history at Cedar Point. And, oh, no, don't look at our other parks where we're like getting rid of all the history.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems.
They treated it so poorly. I mean, I don't know. They could have kept something, or, they could have said, like, by the way, we're demolishing the station. I don't know what they could have done, but they could have kept it up for historical. I don't know. I feel like that to be there. I mean, that's one of the only buildings in that whole park that's, been there since the opening of Kings Island, I believe. So, I mean, that's a pretty significant value behind it. It's not just like, it was made in the 80s or 90s or something like with Volcano. If they tore down Volcano Station at this point, I really wouldn't care. I mean, the ride's gone, so it's not like the station really doesn't have much significance.
But it's not even the station. It was just the photo building and the queue. I mean, that's really all that's left. The station was in the mountain.
It was in the mountain, yeah.
It just, I don't know. This just seems like the whole Vortex thing. Volcano was painful, stupid, and like, whatever. But I can see that inkling of there were issues at least. I mean, I don't think they had a valid excuse to tear it down.
It wasn't not a justified.
But Vortex makes no sense to me whatsoever. That just doesn't. None of that. Removing that ride, especially this year, makes any sense.
Especially, I mean, and we've talked about this as many times. We've talked about Vortex getting removed, and so we're not going to get too much into it. But especially with when last year they announced that on their Twitter feed, everyone was talking about what coasters are going to get destroyed.
Yes, like,
and they were like, "Oh yeah, Vortex is
Vortex." Like, what are you crazy?
Yeah, Vortex.
We're that next year.
Yeah, that's next year. Yeah, they announced on their Twitter, "Yeah, Vortex will not go," and then it went. So it's just. I don't know. They kind of set themselves up for failure, for backlash on this ride. So
it's just painful, and it kind of puts fans in this like position where it's like, what's next?
Yeah, what's not?
It seems like they have no like.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what they're gonna do with this area now. This area of land they have from Vortex.
I just kind of have this feeling it's going to be open for a while. It's just going to be open land.
That kind of sucks. And you see, they could have kept up the station just for people to look at, just for it to be there as a reminder of the history. But
I mean, I don't understand why they wanted to, like, if nothing else, turn it into a shop of some sort.
Yeah, or it could even be a museum. It could have been like a look at our history. This is a
that would be history again.
Exactly,
that's kind of the other interesting thing is like I really am curious what's going on with Cedar Point at their museum, because they're getting rid of a lot of things there. They say they're going to do so, like it's going to be more just different history, but like, I don't know, I just feel like this company has no respect for any of that history. And like our friend Daniel told me this morning, he's like, it's like, yes, things have to go sometimes. You kind of have to come to terms with that, but there's also this aspect of like parents taking their kids and saying, oh, I remember when that opened, or I remember when this happened, and like that's a big part of it. Like, you know,
Yeah, you can't
the
erase
next
all of that.
generation seeing what the old generation did, and it's like none of that seems to be, you know, it's just rough. I mean, like, it's like in the Cedar Fair parks, it's like there's the, you know, even if you had that station, it was like, you know, there's people out there, there's grandparents that could say like, oh yeah, I remember the bat was in that station, that building used to be, you know, you start losing that, you can't get that back. It's not something you can just say, oh, we made a mistake, let's bring it back. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Permanent, yeah. And you're destroying, again, I know we said this, history, which is an important part of a theme park, especially of Kings Island's nature. I mean, it's rooted in, you know, tradition and things like that. So it's disappointing to see. Moving on to the more positive aspect of Kings Island's recent developments, they've announced that Ace is invited to the Media Day event for Orion. So that's exciting because we always like to go to those media events and ride the coaster.
And like I said, that does help.
It's not 100% coping, but it's definitely it's good. That's going to be April 9th. So if any of you are Ace listeners and you're in the Ohio region, you might want to get up there and ride some Giga coasters before you get there, because then they announced that the opening day is actually April 11th. So you're not going to have much time before there's going to be crazy lines and stuff like that. So I would advise getting up to that media day if you're in that area. And
I'm actually debating going up there, to be honest.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So yeah, that's Orion. Orion looks great. We've talked about that many times. That kind of makes up for Vortex getting, I don't know. I mean, you can say what you want. I know you don't agree with that fully, but you know, it's something.
It helps.
It's something. Yeah.
I mean, the destruction of the past doesn't make me like all of a sudden like that makes me not happy for the future. I mean, I'm still excited for the future.
Exactly.
And this is the future, and I'm ecstatic for the future, but you know, some of the past is nice and important too.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Tucking another Kings Park, another Cedar Fair park, Kings Dominion has announced again. This isn't as much, you know, past, but still, they announced that the Crypt will not reopen for 2020. That is their top spin, and they made it official on their Instagram. And they also did state, and we pretty much know what this is going to be, but they stated this hint that something is lurking in the jungle. That's probably most likely what everyone assumes is the Wing Coaster. That'll be coming in 2021.
I hope it's the Abominable Snowman, and that means Avalanche is safe.
I know, they might as well close Safari Village down. Like, there's no reason. That part of the park is just Avalanche now.
Honestly, it does not surprise me that the Crypt is going away. And I also don't think losing the Crypt would be a big deal if they weren't already like tagged as the park that's just getting rid of everything. I mean, like on the path they're on, by 2030, they're not going to have any rides. Like what? I mean, it's, you know, that's the thing that's like, it's really tough. It's like everybody's like, oh, Kings Dominion is losing everything, and King, you know, while we're saying that, Kings Dominion is like, oh, hey, by the way, we're getting rid of another one.
Here's another, add another to the list.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what that ride is. It's just like, what? How? What? How? You can't get rid of another ride.
Yeah, look at this. 2014, they removed Shoot the Curl. 2015 was Shockwave and Hurler. 2017 was Tornado. 2018 was Volcano and Dinosaurs Alive. 2019 was Big Wave Bay. And then 2020 is Crypt. That is an insane number of rides. I don't think any other park can tally up that many. In the past, that was just 6 years. That is more rides removed, I mean, than there were years. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 attractions removed in 6 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you could argue, well, Dinosaurs Alive, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's not that big a deal. But regardless, these are attractions that were a part of the park and now are no longer there. And that takes away from...
And more importantly, other than Twisted Timbers, there wasn't any really major replacements. Yeah, we had Delirium, but like,
yeah, I don't
mean,
count that. That's
Six Flags America is getting a bigger pendulum next year. Like,
exactly.
and you know, I was thinking about that too. Like King's Dominion against Six Flags America, they have a Starflyer, which is like a Windseeker that can run in the wind and is better.
All right.
They have version of Flight of Fear. Like, now they're going to have the better pendulum.
Bob, we stopped.
Why? What?
The audio was being.
They have a Starflyer, which is like a Windseeker that can run in the wind.
Is my end.
And is better. They have. Oh.
Let's see what you're saying though, so you can get.
Pam texted me and said you needed to be a little louder.
All right. I think it might. I don't know. I think it might be her. Let me hear.
You what? They have a Starflyer, which is like a Windseeker.
And drop it from 220 feet. I mean, on my end, it sounds good, so I don't know. On my phone, it sounds fine.
I don't know. That's just what she said.
All right.
They have a Starflyer, which is like a Windseeker that can run in the wind.
So you were saying, the last thing I got you saying is, they have a Starflyer, which is like a Windseeker that can run in the wind. That's the last thing you said. All right.
Well, wait.
I'm not saying.
Let me start that over.
You want to start that over?
I'm gonna start. Yeah, I'll start over that. Speaking of Six Flags America.
Oh, let me see. Let me see where you started that at then. Speaking of Six Flags America.
Six Flags America is getting a bigger pendulum. Like, I mean. So yeah, I'll start it. Your video's gone, by the way.
All right, I don't know what to do about that. So
other than Twisted Timbers, I'm just letting you know because there wasn't any really major replacements. Yeah, we had Delirium, but like, I mean,
you can just say yeah, Six Flags America, whatever, blah blah blah. Let me see how my sounded. Starting off with a that takes away from what you can do. Alright, so yours should be good. We should just be able to start now. I don't know what just happened, but the audio sounded weird, so I stopped. Alright, you ready?
Yep.
Ready, set, go.
And speaking of Six Flags America, like, if you want to compare King's Dominion to Six Flags America anymore, like, King's Dominion used to be hands down the one, but, like, if you think about it, they have a Starflyer, which is a Windseeker that can run in the wind. They have a drop tower that actually runs, unlike King's Dominion, which almost every time I'm there, it's not running. They have the better version of Flight of Fear, in my opinion. And I mean, King's Dominion, especially because they don't even have the theming left of Flight of Fear. So you might as well take the building down too. And now next year, they're going to have a far better pendulum than King's Dominion. I mean, like, it's just amazing that like this park, like Six Flags America is known as like, oh, they have all the older rides, but yet they're so much better than King's Dominion now.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's just bizarre to like. It's like I stepped into the Twilight Zone where King's Dominion is like this joke little park now. Like,
and it's only taken a couple of years to get to this point. I mean, I don't understand. Just like a flash before our eyes, all of a sudden, King's Dominion is just not the park it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, and it doesn't even just stop with attractions. I mean, like the food quality's gone down, the price has gone up. They're doing the locker thing. Just even the employees don't seem. I mean, there's still a ton of really nice employees at King's Dominion, but there's also a mix of employees that just don't seem to care.
Yeah, they seem to be hiring into that crowd of the very unmotivated teenager type.
I don't even know if it's hiring. I kind of feel like it's like
not hiring, but
as enthusiasts, we're kind of like drained of King's Dominion. Maybe the employees are the same way. It's like, oh, this company, like what's happening? Like they can't even get into their job anymore.
And it sucks because I know the executives of this park and stuff, and they're nice, generally nice people, and it just sucks that I don't know what's going on. I don't know where the miscommunication, the mismanagement. I guess it's from corporate and stuff like that. But
I think it's more of a Cedar Fair issue than a King's Dominion issue.
Yeah, but I mean, because you go to other Cedar Fair. I still enjoy pretty much every other Cedar Fair park. Carowinds, I love all those parks. Dorney Park, I still think that I put those above King's Dominion actually. So it's just sucks. Yeah, it just sucks to see that King's Dominion it seems to be going down the tube in the Cedar Fair chain. I don't know why they've kind of picked on King's Dominion. And the thing is, it's just, we all know, I mean, I really wish we would know. We wouldn't know that the wing what's coming to replace this. Because if it was like we have any build up behind this, we could be like, yay, let's get excited and something's coming. But we know it's coming, so it's just like, and we know it's not good. We know it's like,
But even that, like, I mean, you think of like even the general public, they don't know. Like, there's nothing coming. Mm-hmm. There's nothing on the horizon.
In their mind, yeah.
There's little teasers that seem to like don't seem to be meaning anything. It's like, it's just like, I mean, like I said, the Crypt is like, it's sad to see one of the few remaining top spins disappear, but at the end of the day, it was kind of an expected thing. It's not a huge loss, especially since they didn't run the effects anyway.
Yeah.
But the problem is this is another ride.
Exactly.
It doesn't care. I don't care if they took the Scrambler out. It's a huge loss. Anything they lose right now is a huge loss. They need
those attractions. Those attractions are vital to them, yeah.
Any attraction is vital to them right now because everybody feels like there's nothing left of the park.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and it sucks. I mean, they're not leaving any area of the park untouched. The water park, the dry park, everything's getting rides taken out of, and we haven't seen any replacements really, which is sad to see.
And I think like even Twisted Timbers, I mean, I kind of think like RMCs, I have that question is anytime something is RMC'd, in my mind, it's like you don't really know if the ride that was converted was going to leave anyway. In some cases, yes, I think it would have. In other cases, I think parks may have maintained the wooden coaster more.
I think
when there wasn't an RMC.
Hurler definitely had
Hurler. I think Hurler was going to go away.
I don't agree.
Like that's a ride that I don't think was going to stay. I think if RMC wasn't a thing, Hurler would have just left. And I think the thing is
the Carowinds counterpart runs very well and is a finely maintained ride. So I think
but at King's Dominion, it wasn't good, and nobody rode it. It just I don't know. Probably
I remember getting lines when I was there.
But I mean, regardless, I think that people point to Twisted Timbers and like, oh, King's Dominion got Twisted Timbers, so they're not totally forgotten. I think they are. I think the only reason why we got Twisted Timbers was because it was a cheap Band-Aid to kind of stem some of the bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where the park was, is like, well, okay, if that's all it costs, then let's go ahead and do that, and maybe it'll help a little bit. If RMC wasn't an option, I think Hurler would have gone away, and we probably wouldn't have got anything in return.
Yeah, it just, Cedar Fair is looking to, they like you said, stop the bleeding. They didn't, I don't know, they just didn't, they seem very...
They haven't stopped the bleeding anywhere else.
Yeah. And
that's what scares me about the wing coaster.
And that's what they're trying to do with the wing coaster, and they're trying to do the same kind of thing with Twisted Timbers.
What's the cheapest we can spend on this?
Let's put a small, insignificant wing coaster in their park. Not even, I don't know what they're going to theme it to. I don't know what they're going to do with that. We have yet to see that. But, let's make, the minimum requirements. Let's clone it. It's not even an original ride. It's the bare minimum that they can do, which sucks.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know that wing coaster is what's coming. That was not an official announcement.
Exactly, but that's what we are basing it off.
It fits King's Dominion's path.
So yeah, exactly. So if this is not exactly what we do end up getting, we're not saying that this is, it could, I don't know, maybe we end up getting something great, getting something grand, and then we will revoke our claims against
Cedar Fair. I hope I eat my words.
I hope. I would be very proud to do that. I'd be all right with that. I'd be content with doing that.
Yes.
But yeah, it seems like a pattern, so we're just following the pattern for now until we get luck. All right, then we can start. Busch Gardens.
Yep.
All right, so let's start the video. I guess I'll start the video after we start the podcast. So it's just going to be a couple seconds of silence, and then I'll start talking. Speaking of Virginia parks, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Bob, speaking of Kings Dominion, removing something, and speaking of Busch Gardens Williamsburg, is adding something yet again. We already know about Pantheon, and we've talked about that many times on this podcast. But now we know for sure Busch Gardens Williamsburg is getting what Busch Gardens Williamsburg's BGW fans website has produced for us. We are pretty confident. I think they said 99% confident in themselves that it's going to be a launched shuttle Giga Coaster. It's going.
You mean a Giga Shuttle?
Giga Shuttle. It looks fantastic as far as we can see. I know that a lot of people are disappointed about this coaster because they think that there's a lot more potential for Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I think this ride, as far as I'm concerned, it's a unique fit for this park. It's something we have never seen before. So yeah, I would like a full circuit, airtime machine with inversions and cool Giga layout and stuff like that. Yes, I would love that, and I'm not saying I wouldn't. But I am content fully with this ride. This ride is unique. It has that huge vertical spike that actually we found out the other day after they announced they released the documents. They actually found out that there's going to be a twist on that inversion. It's not just a straight up incline. It's actually going to have a twist to it, which is really awesome. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to BuschGardensWilliamsburgFans.com. They have all the images and all that, so you can see what we're trying to visually describe via audio and
they also have a POV.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like.
So you launch back into this small spike, and then you'll launch forward, and you'll go into this like outer bank turn, and then you'll head up, and then they call this the Valley launch, and then you'll launch Hidden Valley launch, yeah, almost like Hidden Valley Ranch.
And like ranch dressing. You can't hate it because it's ranch.
And then you head up into this large vertical spike, which is 355 feet tall, or I believe it's closer to 375 when we're talking sea level. So I mean, this is a
375 drop because of that valley.
Because
that's what they're thinking it could be.
Predicting, yeah. So this is going to be arguably taller than Fryland's Red Force. So technically, this could be, if you consider this a Giga, you would consider this the tallest Giga coaster in the world, which is pretty awesome. Even if you don't consider it a Giga, it'll still be one of the tallest.
Forgot the asterisk.
Yeah, I forgot the asterisk that some people don't consider.
It's a shuttle.
It's a shuttle, and that's where me and Bob differ in this opinion of this, and that's where we do the argument part. That's where I was talking about the arguably, because Bob thinks that a shuttle coaster does not qualify as a Giga coaster.
Indeed.
Which is, I don't know. Interesting.
Here's the thing that, and this is kind of, I'm not alone on this. This is kind of, it's always seemed like the majority of enthusiasts have thought this way. Granted, there seems to be more people today that think that shuttles can count. But here's the rationale behind it. When you have there's two different things. One, when you have a shuttle coaster, some people look at that as, the park's just taking a shortcut so they can get to a number to market without really putting the effort into it. That is what it is. The big thing for me is number 2.
I don't know that.
You don't ascend the whole height. So if this is a 370 foot, let's say the tower is 355 feet, which is the tallest that the height waiver was for.
Yeah.
You're not getting up to 355 feet.
Yeah, but
you may only get up to 330 feet. And if you're in the back, you're even 10 feet below that. The difference with a full circuit is every single seat gets over that 355 feet. And it has to, or you roll back. So it's kind of like, it's a 305 foot tall coaster, but you don't go 305 or 355 feet. You don't make it there. You can't make it there. It's not safe to make it there. And that's where the big, the problem comes in. And here's what I think. This is why I, like, personally, I am ecstatic for this ride. I think it looks like a ton of fun. I think it's gonna be a good fit. Like, I think they could have done things that may have rounded out their lineup a little bit better, but this is going to be a great ride. Yeah. It's going to be a great addition. Personally, though, I would have rather seen this be shorter and actually less than 300 feet, because what this means is they're using this height waiver to get to the Giga height on a shuttle. which means that they're not. First of all, we know that residents of Kings Mill don't like the height, and it's getting tougher for them to get height waivers now. But it also means that from a marketing standpoint, hey, we already have a coaster that's over 300 feet. Why are we going to build another one? And I think it just reduces the chances that we might see a Millennium Force or an I-305 or something else, something of that magnitude down the line. And I mean, I'll remain hopeful, but personally, I would have loved this coaster just as much, and maybe a little. I don't know. I love that it's going up as tall as it is. I don't like the ramifications that are involved in it, and I don't like
I understand
the
your
marketing
argument.
for it.
I understand your argument for if we're arguing this is taller than Red Force, and you're saying it doesn't actually reach that 355-foot height requirement. I understand that. That makes sense. That makes logical sense. However, saying it's not a giga because of that does not make sense, because it's still, irregardless if it doesn't go through the full 355 feet, it's still going above 300 feet. Most definitely, it'll go above 300 feet, even if you're sitting in the back. So it is still clearing that height waiver of 300 feet. So
I certainly
it is a giga by
understand that
standard.
But now let me
You're
throw
going to
another
be 300
scenario
feet in the air regardless. That's what I'm saying, and I think that.
But let me throw a scenario at you. Let's say you can only ride this one time, and for some reason something happens with the launch, and you don't make it over 300 feet, but you go through the full circuit. Does that mean it's a credit for you?
That would just be a malfunction in the ride. I would just say that's a ride malfunction, and I don't know if you can. It depends on how you count credits. I mean, that's completely different, because some people will consider that a credit, some people wouldn't. I think that's a different debate entirely, though.
It may be, but what I'm trying to point to the point. To
I know
the fact that
I know you're trying to put me in a.
variance.
I know you're trying to get to that point, but I don't think that that's a fair analogy. Almost, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because I think, like, if you say, like, well, if you launch like a lightning rod, some people will be like, well, if you launch the full and you made it up the lift hill, but then you roll back, is that part? Did you ride the ride? Obviously not. But for this, it's completely different, because that last launch is the end of the ride pretty much. So I don't know. I probably not.
I'm just saying that there is a variance on shuttle coasters. There's always a variance.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I don't.
Every single train is going to go a different height.
But if you're running, but you're always going to get over 300 feet. Most definitely.
I agree with you. Like, I'm not saying like that was just a little what if to kind of try to paint the picture of what I'm trying to say. And like, I think the bigger thing is this, like, it doesn't keep things clean. Like, for me, it's like you get into this fine details. Like, what if it's a 310-foot giga shuttle and it doesn't always make it over 300 feet? Like, do you call that a giga? Like, it becomes so like minute.
And I think at that point, there's an argument to be made, but I think at this ride, we know how tall it's going to be. We know it's going to make it over 300 feet. I think it's fair to classify it as a giga. With Orion, there's the argument that, on a cold day, steel, retracts, so it might be 299 feet actually. So, like,
yeah,
you see, the people argue that, and I think that's unfair. So I think when you start getting into that specific, I just think it's unnecessary.
That's so minute details there.
Exactly, and I kind of agree with that with this. I think it's a little minute to say that this isn't a giga just because potentially of not going over 300 feet. That's what I think.
I get your point. I mean,
but let's get to the actual ride, because that's a fun debate. But the ride itself looks fantastic. It's going to be going in the Germany Oktoberfest area of the park.
I absolutely agree.
Is it utilizing Drachenfeier's old station? I believe it is. Yes, it is.
Is it?
It is. Yes, you can see that in the actual images. I was looking at that, and yeah, there's the station of Drachenfeier, which is awesome. Always good to see that. I know that's what the code name for this ride was, or when they released the POV, they called it like Drachenspire or something like that. Yeah, Drachenspire.
I hope Busch Gardens like uses that name.
I hope they find that and are like, wait, that's actually pretty good. And then we can.
That's a fantastic.
That's a great name. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like this coaster, everything about this coaster, I think, is spectacular. Yeah. I mean, just from a standpoint, like, I love this coaster and I can't wait to ride it. It's going to be a ton of fun and like a very thrilling ride, and definitely a good addition to the park. I just hate that there's always going to be this debate surrounding it, and it's always going to, like,
Yeah, it'll be
This
it'll
is
be
always
known.
over. Like I would have rather seen Busch Gardens get a Giga that is put to rest. We have a Giga. End of story. There's no argument.
This will be
That's my only hindrance with this,
this will be 2 years in a
I'm
row.
afraid.
This will
What's
be
that?
2 years in a row that there's going to be a Giga argument for two coasters. This is
Oh yeah,
Orion and now
absolutely.
this.
The thing that concerns me is more of that height waiver. That's my concern
Yeah.
because I mean the way SeaWorld's building coasters, we could see another mega coaster come. Like
Mhm.
2022 or 2023.
Yeah.
We could see
Very
something
well.
like that happen. But I'm afraid that it's like, the Kings Mills residents are going to be like, oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah, I
You just built an over 300-foot ride.
They're gonna ruin it for us.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I would have rather seen this same ride in a shorter version,
Yeah.
just because we could save that height waiver for something
Yeah.
else later.
I'm fully agreement there. That's no doubt. However, this is what we're 99% gonna get. So we gotta look at what we got and analyze. So I believe so that it starts off with that backward launch up that small spike. That'll probably be like 50, 60 miles an hour, I would assume. And then we launch through that second launch again. It is strange to me that they're doing this right after Pantheon. They're doing another very similar launch pattern. I mean, you got that spike and then you go back. It's very strange.
I
don't know.
really seriously think that these two coasters were supposed to be one big coaster.
That's probably true.
I really think that's what's going on. I think they split this up into two different coasters.
And yeah, because this is exactly where Pantheon was expected to be as well. They expected it to go over
Right.
the Rhine River in this area. So I mean, it's very well. And it's strange to me that they're putting this massive launch coaster right next to their other launch coaster for Bolton. I feel like you could have spread out the launch coaster. You kind of put through the launch coaster. You have Tempesto, then you have Verbolten, then you have Pantheon. Now you have this. They're all like in one area of the park. They're on that like left-hand corner of the park. It's kind of strange that they didn't really try to spread out their launch. You think that'd be kind of cool to have, a launch coaster in each little area or something like that. It's kind of strange to me how they kind of put them in this one little confined space. It's kind of like Launch Valley. You even have Verbolten's going to be going over the Rhine River. This will be going near the Rhine River. Pantheon goes over the Rhine River. It's very very strange pattern that they chose for these three launch coasters. But I'm not too upset about that really. But it's just it's interesting. It's unique. It's strange. I am really concerned. I want to know how fast this thing is going to go. That's I want to know, is it going to break 300? Some people have estimated 100, 105, 110.
I'm more
concerned.
interested in not the top speed, but how fast the acceleration is.
True. Yeah, that as well.
That is the thing that I think is going to be a big aspect of it. I mean, let's think of this for a second. Like if you look at Top Thrill Dragster, that's a ride that you walk up to and you go, "Oh my god, that's insane." On paper, it doesn't look like anything.
Yeah.
And like that's why I think this could be a make or break thing for this coaster too, because if this is like a super insane fast launch, like that's, it's going to be that visual aspect of it. Like,
I think
oh my god.
that. I think this launch needs to be super insane and super awesome, because other than that,
Yes.
I mean, what else? There's nothing else to this ride. Yeah, the spike's going to be like cool, like a little bit of hang time, whatever. But if this launch isn't insane, 100 miles an hour in 4 seconds or something like that, it's going to be kind of a waste, not a waste of, kind of a waste of space and a waste of resources for this park. Because I mean, that's what launch coasters are for. The launches are supposed to. I mean,
Right.
With Pantheon, you can say the launches, that's not the whole complete ride. You don't really. The launches can be fun. They can be mediocre, and you can still have a great ride.
Right.
But with a
exactly.
shuttle coaster, that's the thing. That is the highlight of the ride. You got to have a good launch. So
Yeah.
I think that's important. I do like how I think that second launch is going to be pretty great too. That'll probably be like up to, like I said, 50 or 60 miles an hour there. So that'll probably be a fun launch as well. But I don't know how much space this Hidden Valley launch is going to have, and how much room it's going to have to accelerate and everything like that. But hopefully, I hope we're
also,
seeing a good launch.
the fact that it's shorter launch area,
Yeah,
could mean that it's a more aggressive
Exactly.
acceleration.
That's
So
what
that
I'm
gives me
hoping
a
for.
little more hope to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, I mean, it really looks strange though. If you watch this POV, guys, it just looks very strange. I mean, it's just a very weird ride. It's kind of,
Yeah,
when I
it's
first
very
saw it, when
unique,
I first
very-
looked at this, I was like, wait a second. So they're going to, it's gonna bank to the right and then it's gonna go straight out again. Like, what's going on here? Until I finally
Yeah.
watched the POV, I didn't even understand fully what was happening here. I was like, what is exactly going on this ride? And then I watched the POV and I'm like, huh. It's literally just a bank turn and then a launch up a spike and then that's kind of it. It's just
Yeah.
strange. It was strange.
I mean, it's going to be a short ride.
yeah, and again, you
That's
know,
kind of I think that's another thing. I do kind of wish that, I think that Busch Gardens Williamsburg has kind of, they have a larger than normal number of coasters that feel short.
yeah,
And I'm not talking about like actual, oh, let's time it and see how long they are. I'm talking like the ride just actually feels like a short ride.
yeah. I mean, none of these coasters. I mean, especially with Pantheon, that's only like 3,500
Right.
feet. They're not. Yeah, they're definitely in need of a coaster with some length. That's definitely necessary.
They need something more along the lines of Apollo's Chariot that's bigger.
Yeah,
They need to upgrade.
that's why I was hoping originally when this before Pantheon and everything, I was hoping that this was a B&M Giga coaster. Before we heard about Pantheon and we didn't know about what was happening, I was like, Busch Gardens needs a B&M Giga or an Intamin Giga. I was hoping B&M because I'm more of a B&M fan, but I know I was like, we just need a Giga in general.
I'd love to see them get a Millennium Force.
And we need some length. We need 5,000,
Yeah.
6,000 feet long because this park's is in shortage of that kind of a ride. I will say, I mean,
Yeah,
Alpengeist feels pretty long, but other than that, everything else, yeah, Griffin is very like, bam, you're done. You know, the two drops, the two loops. Invader, I was hoping would feel longer. It doesn't really feel that long at all. Apollo's Chariot isn't too bad. It's not really. It doesn't feel that.
Apollo's
short.
Chariot's it feels like you get a good long ride out of it.
Yeah, it does, but it's still
But
again
it's old. I mean, you're talking like
20.
that was last century.
Yeah, exactly. And they're in need of a new launch, not a new launch, a new lengthy coaster. But so this ride is not going to fill that gap for them. I don't really know what gap this ride's filling other than the height thing. I mean, it's kind of like we already have the launches. This is literally going to be the launch capital of the world now.
Yep.
We have the shuttle coaster. I mean, we have Tempesto, which does like the shuttle coaster thing, you know. So it's not really filling any gaps for us. I know people keep saying, "Oh, it's filling a gap in their lineup." I don't know what gap other than the three. Yeah, it's gonna be tall. That's kind of the gap it's filling. That's kind of it. So
yeah, and
I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It feels like I just feel like they could have done something that rounded their lineup
a lot better,
a little bit better.
Yeah.
And really, honestly, that's what a lot of people were asking is why. Like, this just seems. I mean, it doesn't discount what the ride's going to be. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be I'm really looking forward to it. I really want to see it in person. I really want to ride it. Like, I am really looking forward to that. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying as negative.
None of us,
I hate the ride. But I just feel like I don't know. I wish it would have done something a little bit different. Just and maybe do this thing later.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's kind of my feeling of it.
Yeah.
But certainly I'm not trying to take away and say like, oh, Busch Gardens made a horrible mistake. This is going to be a terrible. That's not the case. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a great ride. Yeah. And I'm curious to see how they theme this too, depending again on the name and everything like that. It's in the Oktoberfest section. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing some more German theme like that, or if it's going to be more, universal theme. I don't know. We'll see. Parks seem to be trying to theme their coach. I mean, with Invader, we had some good theming. Tempesto was pretty good, for what it was. For Bolton, obviously, is one of the better themed attractions in regional parks in general.
Yes, certainly.
So hopefully we see something along those lines. I don't know if it's going to be themed to Dragonfire or what. Maybe it'll be like Dragonfire revamped, some sort of theme like that. That would be cool. I don't know. We'll see. That's something to look forward to with this ride. So Busch Gardens Williamsburg 2021. It's unique. It's interesting. And it's exciting, and we'll keep you guys up to date. All
right. So this is where hopefully we'll do and speaking of, we're live. We just saw Pantheon.
Yeah. All right, and then we'll go into Coaster Craze. So then I guess we'll have to do the transition from Coaster Craze. I'll do the transition of this to Coaster Craze on that episode.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll have to remind me because I might forget. If not, I guess I could just do it when I get home. So.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna jump right into Coaster Craze then. all right. Mommy's all right. Here we go. So we're going to jump back into the argument of the records and how to classify roller coasters, because me and Bob do have some disagreements in this. So, Bob, I know that this is more of your argumentative area expertise. This is what you wanted to discuss. So I'll let you explain a little bit about what you're wondering and curious about.
Well, as I was saying with the talk about Project 2021, like it's always seemed to be coaster enthusiasts just always, if it was a shuttle coaster, it was always given an asterisk whenever you were discussing height records. Wicked Twister was never considered a hyper coaster. I mean, you could say it's a hyper shuttle, but nobody really calls that a hyper coaster. It's just kind of a forgotten thing because it doesn't do a full circuit. It doesn't necessarily get up to its full height. It doesn't, and there was always this talk about Moonsault Scrambler, which like really could have been, I think, is that the first hyper or first gig? First hyper.
Yeah, this is the first hyper.
First hyper, yeah. It was so like, it's like that technically that reached heights before Magnum existed.
Exactly.
But it never was considered that because it's a shuttle. It doesn't necessarily get that far, and it's not, it's not in that same tradition of like full circuit coaster. Like, on a full circuit coaster, you're getting that height or you're just not making it. Like that's just the way, that's the nature of the beast. But on a, any kind of a shuttle coaster, that's not, I mean, you look at Superman the Escape, like, and I think, what's it called now? Escape from Krypton. Like that drastically varies. Like, it doesn't always make it up that high. Like every single ride is a different height. And, it's really hard to like give, when Six Flags says, oh, look, we have the first strata. It's really hard to give them credit because it's like, wait, but you don't get there. Like,
but you do on some rides.
Maybe, but
so I think that's fair.
Like,
I think
nuance of like,
I think before 2003 or whenever when it happened, that was 2003. There was a ride that went 400 feet in tall. I mean, and it's, even if you want to say not all the time, most of the time, or half of the time, if you want to be fair, we'll just say that that's around how many times it made it up there. Half the time it was getting up to 400 feet. So maybe not every time, but a lot. There were some points where it was getting up to the 415 foot. I believe.
But so the question is though, does that mean that half the people didn't ride a Stratocoaster?
Again, majority of people do not care, so I don't think it really matters that much.
Well, but I'm talking in the enthusiast community.
I think they still rode the Stratocoaster now. Yeah, because
even though they didn't go over 400 feet.
Yes.
Yeah, I
just think that makes sense because that's what it is. It's just, you can't define something. If Top Thrill Dragster has a rollback, I mean, it doesn't go 400 feet in the air.
But you get relaunched.
Yeah, sometimes you do. What if it's actually broken and you can't get relaunched?
Well, then you didn't get the full credit.
All right. Well, I don't know how much I agree with that. I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, and I guess that's what this segment's for. But
that's
I don't know.
thing.
I don't know how to express. It's
like
very difficult to express.
Like this is the thing. When you have a hard statistic, it's hard to argue that fact. Like you can't say Fury isn't a Giga. It is. There's no way to argue that. Let me say, with 90% of enthusiasts, there's no way to argue that point. Some people have really, really bizarre lines of thought.
Some crazy people.
Yeah, but it's just it's a statistic. But whenever you get with the shuttles, I don't care if you want to go ahead and include them in the list, you always have to put that asterisk. It's like, yeah, this is the third highest coaster, but some people don't consider that, and here's their argument, and they have a valid argument. Whether you agree with that argument,
I think it's a valid argument, but
Right, and
There's
that's
no
the
way.
thing.
There's no way to
because it's
solidify
about-
that. There's no way to solidify what is. I think the definition of a Giga coaster or Strata coaster is a roller coaster that goes over 400 feet tall, and Superman Escape from Krypton does that. So I think that's the end of the argument in my mind. I know that you think you should actually get to that point, but majority of people will get there.
And like, it's one thing to say that, like, it's one thing to make the statement of, oh, it's a strata coaster. I don't agree with that terminology because of the fact, because of my other reasoning, like, I just don't like painting a false narrative. And that's why I would call it a shuttle giga or a giga shuttle. But the problem is that because whenever you're talking about records, like it's like a park is going to dump money into trying to beat this record.
It's a passion.
I mean, you look at Cedar Fair, like, put all this money into Millennium Force, and like, how would you feel if like somebody just like built something to just shoot you up a tower 310 feet? It's like,
but those rides are just as expensive.
Well,
they are 100% just as expensive, just as time consuming to build and things like that. I mean, just it requires the resources. It's not like it's just throwing up a tower. I mean, it's actually, I mean, those rides are just as valuable, just as.
I'm not saying they don't have value. They certainly have value.
I know what you're arguing. I know you're saying, but
it's just that whenever you put it in the statistics of like
I mean,
you're going
Superman,
for like,
Superman Escape from Krypton was $20 million. How much was Top Thrill? You know, Top Thrill was probably just around that exact price. I would assume very similar pricing. So it's not like, I mean, they do very similar things. They get launched up and you launch back down. It's not like that big of a difference in ride experience at all. Anyway. So I don't see
I'll
why.
agree with you that it's a similar concept, but
so it's just I don't know.
It's that mark where like there's no turning around. Like, I mean, like in order to complete the ride, you have to reach the maximum height, and I think that makes the biggest.
And I think that's an opinion, and I think that's
the biggest impact.
Yeah, I think that's an opinion. I think that's where we differ. I don't.
But so let's say somebody built a shuttle coaster that was 328 feet tall. Does that beat Fury 325's statistic?
I think
it is taller.
Yes.
But there is no way the train will ever get that high.
All right, but
it won't.
The actual ride itself is that tall, though.
Right.
The actual
so where do you
itself.
put that statistic?
I think where you're saying is that you're talking about from a rider standpoint. I'm actually talking about statistically how tall the ride is. The riders don't have to even get there. It's the actual ride is that tall, then I think it's that tall. Does that register?
Well, but okay, I see your point, but the problem is like if you could put a radio antenna on top of it and increase. I mean, like that's the thing.
Not what I'm
you
saying,
get into
though.
these little like
you could. I mean, but you could make up dumb little arguments about your thing.
But that's my point. It's like that's why you just say shuttle coasters don't count in your official statistics.
I don't.
Or that you at least have to give that asterisk.
Maybe
that says,
even an asterisk, since there's an argument to be made, but I don't think it's fair to say that they don't count. And I don't think it's fair to say you can't give a coaster like that. You can't break records just because it's a shuttle coaster.
Well, I think they certainly break shuttle coaster records.
No, I think they break real world records. I mean,
certainly, like this is going to be one of the tallest shuttle coasters. Like that's a record in
the world. One of the tallest coasters in the world. Nobody, but that's the thing is that if a park says it's the tallest shuttle coaster in the world, 89% of the people.
No, it's not because Krypton.
Okay, if it was, I'm saying if it was.
Yeah.
That would no one would care. No one would go. Oh, the shuttle.
What do you mean no one would care?
Everybody. The general public goes. They don't know what a shuttle coaster is. They don't know what a shuttle coaster is.
They don't know what a hybrid is, but they think it's the biggest, baddest, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, but that's completely different. A hybrid, you can kind of figure out. Yeah, they explain it's a steel, the steel structure, steel track and wooden coaster. That's pretty easy to comprehend. Shuttle coaster, you have to be like, well, it doesn't go full circuit and it doesn't. I mean, and then you get into this with you talking about this crazy stuff.
But see, it's just a simple. It's not a full circuit. like that's my point. It's just easier
That
to just
doesn't-
say it's
that
not a
doesn't-
full circuit.
I don't think that's fair to just say that though. I think because there's, especially with the way we're going now, spikes and all that kind of stuff are becoming more part of even full circuit coasters. So I mean, like what we saw with Fury at Babajanland, that has a spike in it, but it still does a full circuit. So I don't know. 'Cause
You
then
are right there.
You start.
It could get,
It gets messy. So
it could start getting messy.
I don't know. I think that's for the future of the enthusiast community to decide for. But I think if I had to reach a verdict, I would say we can put the asterisks next to the name, but I definitely think you have to count them included with real coasters. You
think
can't just
you
say
like
that there's a
this-
separate shuttle coaster list. I think you have to include them with real coasters because they are real coasters. I don't think it's like it doesn't make any.
Well, yeah, they're certainly coasters. I'm not saying that they're not coasters.
I know, but if you have to start separating them from, it's not a real Giga, then it just defeats the purpose of the Giga. The Giga includes all that's 300. The Strata includes all that's 400. But now we can't include all of them because this one doesn't, do its full thing.
See, that's the thing. You don't when you hear Strata, everybody talks about Top Thrill Dragster and King to Ka. People don't
All right, Bob.
really
Wait.
include.
The audio again. I don't know what's going on.
Whoa! Now you sound really weird.
I sound weird.
That's better now. You did for a second there. You sound really weird.
All right, that's weird.
But see, that's the thing. You don't when you hear Strata, everybody talks about Top Thrill Dragster.
All right, you were saying. See, that's the thing when people hear Top Thrill Dragster or whatever. Do you remember what you were gonna say?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
And see, that's the thing. Whenever you hear Stratocoaster, everybody automatically thinks Top Thrill Dragster and King to Ka. Superman's never really included in that discussion.
I have always actually thought of Superman when I think of Strata.
You're not normal.
I do. I honestly do. I honestly have. Whenever I think about Strata coasters, I think about that. I think about those 3 rides. I mean, that's I never really realized that there was a big debate that there wasn't a Strata. Because again, I thought logically, when I see the definition of a Strata coaster, it doesn't say, if it doesn't actually reach the full point. It just says any ride that goes over 400 feet tall.
No, most places you read that actually say full circuit. A lot do.
I've yet to see that, especially with Giga as well, because this was a big argument. The Giga. I have yet to see that definition. I'm curious though. Here's one from Roller Coaster Fandom. Is a roller coaster between 400 and 499 feet. That's what I saw when I come up. So I don't know. Stratocoaster Urban Dictionary has its own definition. A roller coaster that is over 400 feet high. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing when I come up. And that's what I've always really that's what I base off.
I know, Ultimate Coaster says it. That's the thing. There's no definitive definition.
Exactly. So that's where I think that we can include them, but we can put the asterisk next to it and be like, because there is that debate. I think that's fair, but I don't think it's fair to disclude them from the topic just because a certain minority or whatever you want, a percentage of people disagree that it's not a coaster or doesn't meet the Giga standards or the Strata standards.
See, I think the problem is too. This is something I think that's going to be unique to Project 2021. Is I think a lot of people I think there's people that have always, obviously you're not one of these, but I think there are a lot of people that have always been like, yeah, shuttles don't count. But now all of a sudden, because this is so awesome, they're going to try to find these wait, this one counts.
Well, and because it actually does go with Superman Krypton doesn't always make it to 400 feet. And that's a fair argument, and I can see that. With this coaster, it is most definitely always going to pass 300 feet. So it's always...
You're right.
So I think it's going to be a Giga. It's going to reach 300 feet. So even if the argument is it doesn't always reach 300 feet, it does reach 300 feet this time. So I think it's fair to say we got to include it. That's what I think, most definitely.
And I would probably concede that, okay, include it, but you better give me my asterisk.
Yeah, well, that can be the conclusion that we reach here for today. All right, we've reached a stalemate. You put the asterisk in there. That's what you got to do. So anyone listening out there, Bob and James have come to the conclusion. If you can include them, you just got to put that asterisk there because again,
just give us the asterisk.
There's this percentage of people that disagree with me. So we gotta appease all people and we gotta
Yes, give us our asterisk.
and we got to we gotta give us our asterisk. All right, so we're gonna go on to the next segment of Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. The segment we call the Break Run. It was kind of a weird transition, but whatever.
I think it was a fair debate.
I know I kind of transitioned that kind of weird. I still think it's going to be kind of weird to have the weekly polls, what we just talked about, because we literally just talked about that. So next week we're not going to be able to discuss that at all. We just kind of established what we think.
That's, whenever we were discussing before, I was like thinking like, oh yeah, the Busch Gardens thing, but then like the coaster craze, I was like, well, that's the whole purpose of talking about it. So I mean, but still, I really want to know what people think.
Okay, we can do that, and then let's also add something else that we can talk about next week. Can you think of anything?
Oh no, not this. This took us like a week to think of this. Not really, but
The weekly poll?
yeah.
What do you want? We should add something else though, so that people can be aware of it for next week. What do we debate about a lot?
I don't know. I think we could talk about it again in break run, just like our reaction to the results.
Yeah, we could, I guess.
I think you and I can talk about stuff. We could argue about this forever if we want. How long do we ever stop arguing about the relocation credits?
No, we do not. That's still such a
And the conversion credit?
that is still one of the most illogical arguments I think you've ever made. I agree with your logic on some stuff, and I can see where you're coming from, but that still is the most illogical argument I've ever heard.
So this is one of the things. I don't know if I ever actually explained this to you, but a lot of that whole argument is actually because, like, when I started keeping track of stuff, it wasn't so easy to go, like, to say, oh wait, that was the coaster that I rode here. Like, it was kind of hard to keep that straight, and that probably has a lot more to it's probably a lot more to do with it. Like now, it's so easy to go to RCDB and say, oh yeah, this coaster, like I rode it before when it was at this park, but before it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, but I definitely think. I mean, it's literally the exact same roller coaster that you rode at a different park. I don't understand how that at all in your mind is a new credit. I just don't. I'll never understand that until the day I die. Because I mean, what if they move the ride in the park? How is it? I mean, it's the same concept. You're moving it. I mean,
No, you're right. You're.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I wouldn't count it if they moved it in the park, but
somehow, yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with any of that, but it's all right.
It was more about simplicity.
Yeah, and I think at this point you can.
But like that is also one of the things that I like. This is my criteria, but it is the most. It's the criteria that I easiest say, yes, I get you. Like, you don't have to argue with me. Like, I completely understand where you're coming from by not counting those.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the break run. So we haven't seen any strata coasters built in a while. We also haven't seen any of the stand-up roller coasters built in a while. And that was last week's weekly poll and this week's break run. Will we ever see another stand-up roller coaster built in general in the world? And a majority of our listeners significantly voted no. And that was 86% of the vote, or 55 votes for no. And then we had the 14%, or 10 votes. We're going to see one. I definitely don't think we're going to see one. I know Bob doesn't think we're going to see one.
Well, wait.
But he does have a
Here's the
statement
thing.
to say.
So this is exactly what I expected the results to be. But here's the little thing that I don't think people are thinking of is like, yes, we're not going to see a stand up as it existed. But what if a new idea comes out of a new way of doing a stand up coaster? And the big thing is we still don't know what the B&M Surf Rider is. What
yeah,
if the B&M Surf Rider is something else that you stand up on?
that is very possible.
So if they come up with a new restraint system, I think we could see a rebirth of the stand-up coaster.
Revamping.
But I don't think we're going to see coasters like B&M's existed before.
Or Togos or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather see Togo's design than B&M's. I mean, just me personally, I loved the Togo ones, but that's the thing. I think that's where you really have to say, like, you can't just say, "Oh no, we'll never stand up on another roller coaster." We might actually see something, some new design comes out, and you stand up on it, but the restraint's different.
And I think when we say built ever again, I think that's a little broad because I think we have to think in like 10, 15 years when we say again, ever again, because obviously we have no idea what the amusement industry is going to be like in 10 or 15 years. It's
true.
Yeah, so I think when we use the word ever again, let's just use that as a relative phrase of like 10 to 15 years. Because that's kind of in the near future. Yeah. Because again, we have no idea what the innovation of the industry is going to be like in 20 years.
But I think as we know stand-ups now, I don't think we're going to see that design again.
I completely agree with that, and I think that's what this audience, and I think that's what this thing. I think that's what this audience was thinking as well, because
exactly.
That's
but
how
I don't think anybody really thought. Well, wait.
Yeah. So, but it is interesting that we had 10 voters say yes. So maybe they were thinking along those lines, or maybe they thought that we'd see a revamping of the original design. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I sure as heck would love to see Six Flags America convert a Firebird back to Apocalypse. So.
I would as well. I've yet to ride Firebird, which I don't count as a new credit anyway. But again, I've yet to see Firebird, but I enjoyed Apocalypse. So
Apocalypse was a really good ride.
I enjoyed Apocalypse. That was a fun ride. So yeah, that's it for the brake run. I definitely think if Bob is on, I think Bob's onto something here. I definitely think that the Surf Rider could very well be maybe almost like they're flying. Maybe you start off sitting down and then you somehow stand up, kind of like a B&M flying coaster. How you start sitting down, or not a B&M flying coaster. Actually, it's the Vekoma Flying Dutchman's where you start sitting, but then you end up on your back. Maybe it's something like that where you start sitting and then you're somehow up on your seat. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if that even happens, or if that's even what this ride is all about, if that's what this model is about.
The whole Surf Rider thing is just, I really want to know what that is.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what B&M has up their sleeves. Something new from B&M, which we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen any like new concepts really. But we're gonna get back into the argument of what was the first Stratocoaster, because again, that's what what the main arguments of this week were. So this week's weekly poll: do you feel that Top Thrill Dragster was the first Stratocoaster, or do you think that Superman Escape was the first Strata? Yeah, that's again if you think the shuttle counts or not. And I'm actually curious. to see how the audience responds to this, because you say the majority of enthusiasts think that full circuit coasters are what count as Stratas, and I don't think that. I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but maybe I could be completely wrong. We'll see.
And it could also be just old enthusiasts like me.
It could be
younger enthusiasts see it
but
different.
again, we have a wide age variety on our podcast Instagram page, so we shall see. I'm very curious to see that. And that'll be next week's break run. We'll get to discuss those results. Maybe have another mini argument there. And so that is it for this episode of Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. It's been a blast.
Yes,
had a lot of fun. Had a good argument or two, as we always do. And yeah, so follow us on Twitter at CoasterTalk_pod, and also follow Bob's account where he discusses the industry at Coaster Talk Bob. Facebook at Coaster Talk Pod, Instagram at Coaster Talk Pod, and then contact me or Bob and either of us at CoasterTalkPodcast.com/contact, and we'll hear your feedback and we'll discuss it and see what's going on. And then you can email me personally, James at CoasterTalkPodcast.com. And so that has been it for this episode of Kosher Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. I've been your host, James Barber,
And I've been Bob.
and we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for listening, guys. Shabam.
We did it.
And we didn't have, I don't know what's going on with his microphone. It's crazy, but we didn't have too many technical difficulties other than that.
Wait, it's only 10?
I know, it feels like it should be a lot later.
It feels like we talked forever. I was like, oh man, this is going to be a long podcast, but
Well, we adding in that,
didn't.
adding in that, segment, it'll probably be about 1 hour and 15 minutes, so.
yeah.
We talked a lot before.
Wow, I can't believe it's only 10 o'clock. That felt like a really long one.
We talked beforehand as well, like 25 minutes. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
Which is bonus content for you, live stream listeners. So, all right, there's that. Your audio saved. My audio saved. That's gonna be a heck of a lot of editing to do. To add in your thing and then add in the thing. To add in where I messed up the audio and then to add in that thing that we do this weekend. All right, guys, on the live stream, thanks for listening. We're going to head out here in a sec, so we're going to end the live stream. Bye, guys.
See ya.